Hello and welcome to another update video about Doge. Dogecoin. Doge has moved up quite significantly in the last few days in line with some other coins. Doge, however, did outperform some of them. With Doge, you need to know that it's a highly volatile coin and it has been range bound so far. So it has been in this broader channel that we identified in the previous videos. And I did update before that as long as Doge is range bound, it can of course put in the blue count, so that we have here, based on the Elliott wave count, a wave 1, a wave 2. This was a wave 3. We came down in a wave 4. So all of that in a diagonal pattern. And then this was an A, B. And then we could put in the C wave of a fifth wave, meaning that all of these can be counted as three-wave structures because it can be considered a so-called diagonal pattern. Now, with diagonal patterns, they are never very reliable. Yeah, that's usually why, if you want to have a high probability trade, you need to buy in support areas. Now, we had a very clear support area down here when we hit the channel support, or you have to wait until we have all 5 waves in, so that we make a fifth wave, which should ideally get above the third one, so above 16 cents. And then it would come back in a wave 2, because these 5 waves, yeah, they would put in a wave 1 as a leading diagonal, and then you can wait for the wave 2 retracement to buy in, because then you have a higher probability setup for a following third wave, okay? So this is currently, of course, one possibility. It has become more likely that we have broken above the previous swing high, but it is still possible that we're putting in the red count. So it is very important to know from which level does the red count basically get unlikely. And it already got less likely when we hit or moved above the 9.5 cent level, when we hit, or when we moved above this wave for A high. But it's still possible that we have this as a wave 4 and would come down in a wave 5 afterwards. Why is that still possible? Well, if we count this as a 1, 2, 3, yeah, from the high to the low, then this could still be a wave 4 and we could come down in a fifth wave afterwards. The wave 4 can go, and I have drawn the fibs here, it can go all the way up to the 50% fib level. It actually only reached the 38.2% fib level, which is normally the ideal retracement for a fourth wave. So it's reached the 10.5 cent level. Yes, surely it can go higher, but as soon as it gets above 11.5 cents, I think the red count is very, very unlikely. And I'm going to take it out, because then we're also cutting into the wave 1 price range. Then I would go with the blue count, okay? There's still another possible count, so that's what I mean. There is a lot of uncertainty in this chart here. What we could also have, but that would be a very bearish count, is that from the top, all of this was a wave 1 down. This here is a wave 2, and that could retrace all the way up to around. Let me just look at. No, 1 second, I told you something. 1 second, I think I made a mistake here with the fibs. Yeah, okay. So here, yeah, I had the fibs drawn wrong. So for the red count, we have reached the 50% fib level here. So this is the maximum a wave 4 should do. If it gets above that level now, it will basically get very unlikely that it's still a wave 4. It hasn't substantially broken it. And above 11.5 cents, it will be invalidated. Okay, so just that you know that, okay? But if we draw the fibs like this can be this other count, the bearish count. This was a wave 1, moving up in a wave 2. And we would come down in a wave 3 afterwards, a wave 4 and a wave 5. That would be a very bearish count. That is likely or possible, and deserves consideration as long as we stay below 14 cents, because a wave 2 can retrace all the way up to the 78.6% fib level easily, yeah, at 14 cents. So you shouldn't forget about this one. The point is, In terms of trade setups, the trade setup was for me down here. Yeah, this would have been an entry point for anybody who wanted to trade this, because this is the support area. Jumping on the train now, for me personally, would be a bit too risky, because it can reverse at any time. Let me take a look. It's not overbought yet on the daily, but on the 4 hour it's now overbought. Yeah. So what I mean, anybody who wants to trade this, and it's entirely up to you, but if I wanted to trade this now, I wouldn't jump on the train now. I would try to wait for retracement, any retracement, see how it's doing there. Not trying to rush here because we had a few green candles and the dog had a good day, right? So again, important to understand just the key pivot points, the key decision points here. It is at the moment this 10.5 cent level that is very relevant. Now, we haven't substantially broken it yet, but if we get above that 10.3 cent level substantially, then the wave 4 will get very unlikely and gets invalidated above 11.5 cents. It could then still be the wave 2 as a bearish count that can go up to 14 cents, and the bullish count is possible as well. And this should then, if it continues, put in like 15, 16 cents, right? What does that tell you? It tells you there's a lot of uncertainty in the count here, in the market, because different counts are possible. There's a bearish count, there's a bullish count. The time to go in, anybody who wanted to trade this from an Elliott wave point of view would have been down here in the support area where we hit channel support, yeah, not in the middle of the channel. You would normally not do that necessarily. Even now, if anybody wants to go in, I mean, it might be worth waiting for a retracement, yeah. Or, and that is the where you get a chance for high probability setup, is to wait for a possible wave 5 to finish, yeah, just not to do anything right now, just to wait if a wave 5 actually is going to be put in place, which would complete that white wave 1, and then going in, scaling into the wave 2. Because if we put this in place, so if we, let's say, make this blue wave 5, complete this wave 1, then the wave 2 retracement, which would hopefully be in 3 waves then, would give you a good idea that a wave 3 to the upside is coming. So if you have any diagonal pattern, my view is it's always worth to wait for 5 waves to be put in, because a diagonal pattern is never a very reliable pattern. There are much better charts out there, but anybody who is interested in Doge, I mean, I said that before, with Dogecoin, you always have to be prepared that it does some or let's say sudden moves, which, sometimes out of the blue it just spikes. Therefore, having a little bit of Doge here and there might not be a bad idea, because it's literally an energy bunny and it can just jump as response to a tweet. Yeah. Okay, and that's my update about Doge. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.